The Red Line Ticket, Chicago, 1941. A winter that turned breath into evidence. My office sat over a barber on Madison with a frosted door that said Hank Loring, Investigations. She came in with a coat too thin and eyes that did the shaking. My brother's dead, she said, and set a streetcar ticket on my desk. They say it was a fall. It was a red line ticket punched twice with a soot smear on the corner. I'm Vera Klein. Eddie worked nights at the Lakeside Foundry. They pulled him from the river near Kinsey. He didn't ride streetcars, she added. This was in his fist. A ticket in a dead man's hand isn't a souvenir. It's a note you can't tear up. At the river station, I bought 10 minutes with the desk sergeant and looked at Eddie Klein myself. His knuckles were split and under his nails was black grit with glittering flecks. Foundry Coke. On his sleeve cuff, I found a fresh smear of yellow paint, streetcar color. At Lakeside, the foreman admitted Eddie clocked out around 11 and never reached the gate. He was asking about shipments that weren't in the books, he said, staring at his boots like they had answers. Eddie's locker was scrubbed clean, but a matchbook remained. The blue lantern, plus 3 penciled numbers, 6, 11, 3. At the blue lantern, the jukebox played low. The bartender said Eddie drank coffee and watched the door. Like he was waiting, he told me. He nodded to a booth. A man sat there in a suit too clean for this neighborhood, hat low, smile tight. On his lapel, a tiny brass pin shaped like a streetcar wheel. That's Artie Sen, the bartender muttered. Union man or something like it? Sen's eyes met mine. You're asking about Eddie. Funny, I said. I didn't say his name. He leaned in. Stop asking. The river's cold. Threats are cheap. Proof isn't. I studied the ticket again. The punch pattern matched a maintenance run, not a passenger ride. I spent the afternoon where the city kept its steel nerves, at the streetcar-barn off Southport. A dispatcher with ink-stained fingers let me study the punch charts in exchange for a cigarette and a lie that I was insurance. The yellow paint on Eddie's cuff matched a fresh patch on a service gate, still tacky to the touch. And the little wheel pin? City issue for maintenance crews, not union men. Somebody was borrowing uniforms the way kids borrow trouble. Maintenance run tonight, the dispatcher said, tapping a schedule with his pencil. 3 stops after the loop, same as always. Why? Just curious, I told him. Curiosity is cheaper than the truth, and it gets you farther in Chicago. On the way back, I stopped at a scrap dealer who swore he'd never heard of Lakeside. His hands were black with grease and his eyes were clean. He offered cash for small round parts. That night, I rode the red line outbound with Eddie's ticket in my pocket. 3 stops past the loop, a man in a conductor's cap moved through the aisle too carefully. When he brushed by me, he dropped a cigarette. The ash that hit my shoe was oily and black, foundry ash. His cuff carried a faint yellow streak. I got off when he did. He slipped through a service gate to a maintenance shed humming with electric heat. Through a grimy window, I saw crates and tools, and a wall calendar with 3 dates circled in red. 11, 3. Inside, under a bench, sat a crate stamped Lakeside. Fragile. It rattled. Bearings, maybe, or machine parts. Beside it was a stack of unpunched red tickets and a tin box full of those brass wheel pins. Behind me, I told you to stop thinking. Sen stood in the doorway with 2 friends. You're moving foundry parts on city rails, I said. Tickets to track deliveries. A union badge to get through gates. Eddie saw it. Eddie wanted to be a hero, Sen said. Heroes drown. I held my hands up, except for the ticket between my fingers. I flicked it into the heater. The paper flared red and Sen's eyes followed the flame for half a second. Half a second is a lifetime. I drove the crate into the nearest man's knees. The other swung, I ducked, and he met steel shelving. Sen raised his gun, but the sprinkler pipe above him was old. I slammed his wrist into the joint. The shot went wild, shattering a bulb. Then water burst and steam filled the shed. When it cleared, Sen was face down in a puddle and his gun was out of reach. The police came late, but the crate and the tickets did most of my talking. Lakeside's foreman suddenly remembered names. Sen went out in cuffs. Next day, Vera met me on Madison. The numbers, she asked. Stops, I said. 611, 3, Eddie wasn't riding. He was watching. She closed her fist around the ticket. So he left proof. Yeah, I said. And he held on long enough to make it matter. Back upstairs, I stared at my own wet ticket and thought about how red ink runs when you try to wash it clean. In this town, the streetcar keeps moving. The trick is learning where it stops and who gets thrown off.